What's up, guys? My name is Gabe, and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is episode 26 of the viewer comment series, and this is a hot take edition. Over on Twitter and my YouTube community page, I did ask you guys to drop your USC football hot takes, and man, we got a ton of submissions this week. It was really fun going through all of them. I picked about 14, 15 of them. Before we do get into it, if you guys are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And just in case you guys missed the announcement, me and Tim Prangley from LAFB are launching the USC Football Podcast. The first episode actually drops tomorrow. It's going to drop on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you guys get your podcasts, it'll be there. But we do have a YouTube channel. It's just called the USC Football Podcast. Just type that in or look in the description. It is linked. Head over there and please subscribe. We're going to be posting the full audio there as well as selected clips from certain conversations or just very interesting talking points during the podcast. Yeah, so please go and do that. Make sure you guys also subscribe here. Really appreciate y'all being here. Now let's get into it. First up, from Alton Catch Fire over on Twitter, he says Lincoln Riley gets tired of a huge amount of his power getting taken away from him by Chad Bowden and Jen Cohen and leaves at the first opportunity. Now, that is a hot take, and it's one I completely disagree with. Lincoln Riley looks refreshed. He's a football coach. He's an X's and O's guy. He doesn't want to be handling all the recruiting, all the roster building, all the fundraising, all the little day-to-day stuff he was doing for the last 3 years. I mean, I just looked at him through the midway point of last year. He looked exhausted. And how could you not be doing the work of 3 or maybe even 4 people for 3 straight years? That's going to wear down anybody. So I don't think Lincoln Riley's going to leave anyway. But if he were to leave for some reason, it definitely would not be because he lost his power. Next up, from my co-host on the USC Football Podcast, and he works over at LAFB, it's Tim Prangley. His hot take is that the USC defense holds opponents to under 20 points per game. So, for reference, in 2023, our defense was at 34 points a game allowed. And then last year in the Big Ten, we got it all the way down to 24. Now, that was very impressive by Dantlin, by the defense. But I have to throw in the fact that we weren't playing quarterbacks like Bo Nix, like Michael Penix, like Shedeur Sanders. The quality of offense dropped off substantially. So asking us to go from 34 to 24, I actually think is a smaller ask than going from 24 to under 20. So I'm going to say that this is a very hot take. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'm somewhere around 20, 21, 22. Under 20 would easily put us top 20 in the country in that stat. And if that is the case, if we are under 20 points a game, barring a monumental collapse from the offense from Jaden Mayava, this is going to be a playoff team in my personal opinion. Next up, from Nick over on Twitter, he says, if we don't win in Champaign, I'm worried we won't have the necessary mental edge to have a chance to win in Eugene or South Bend. Now, this one I actually completely agree with. That game is the big test. Because since Lincoln Riley has been at USC, what have we not been able to do? Get a massive road win. So if early in this season, a team that we're more talented than, if we can't get a win here, if we can't clear that hurdle, what it's going to tell us is that things haven't changed to the point where we're going to be able to compete in South Bend or in Eugene. So you're absolutely right, Nick. We're going to find out everything we need to know about this team in that game at Illinois. And that's one of those games I don't think playing them close is going to be enough. This isn't Ohio State. This isn't Oregon. This isn't Notre Dame. This is Illinois. While I'm a massive fan of Luke Altmaier, I'm a massive fan of Brett Bielema. That's a game you can't lose if you're a serious program, especially with the lack of track record we have with winning on the road. Massive chance there, have to get the W. Next up, from Zach over on Twitter, he says Eric Gentry is going to be a first-team All-American. Now, what's funny is that the hot take part of this isn't that his play on the field would make him an All-American. It's that he survived the entire season healthy, therefore he is an All-American. Because no one has questioned Eric Gentry's play on the field. If you did, you aren't a very smart football fan anyway. He was the best player on the team up until he got hurt. I look at the game against LSU, the game against Wisconsin, the game against Michigan especially. He was everywhere. If we get a full, healthy Eric Gentry for the entirety of the 2025 season, not only does that massively help this defense, but I completely agree with you, Zach. He is going to be a first-team All-American. I'm extremely confident in that because he's not just a player that pops on tape. He's a very productive guy as well. He's going to have those opportunities for interceptions. He's very good at punching the ball out, and he's been the most consistent tackler outside of Jalen Smith since Lincoln Riley has arrived at USC. So completely agree with that one. Next up, from JP over on Twitter, he says there is going to be at least one heartbreaking, inexplicable loss. This is how you know you're a true USC fan, whether it's Oregon State 08, Washington State 17, Stanford 07. This is what we have come to expect as USC fans. Somehow, some way, this team's going to find a way to hurt you. And while we shouldn't be surprised, while we should see it coming, we never do, and it always hurts like hell. Don't really think that this one's a hot take. That's just life as a USC fan, unfortunately. Next up from Nico over on Twitter. Make sure you guys are following him, one of the top USC accounts on the platform. But he says, O-line is in trouble. Coach has to put them in the best situation possible, or Maava will be running for his life and turnovers will happen. Now, I've really seen this narrative start to pick up in the fan base over the last few weeks. This is something we've been talking about on this channel since January, when we made the addition of DJ Wingfield. What I said at the time was, this is not enough. His game against Notre Dame was terrifying. I mean, he truly got dominated in that game. Not just like he was off, he was physically incapable of playing with their defensive line. That was extremely concerning to me. And he was our best option at left guard. So when you take a look at what's behind it, it's extremely concerning. The coaches are very high on Micah Banuelos. He's had injury issues. We've never really seen him. He's 6'2". Yes, he has long arms. That's a major wait and see. Alani Noah has been massively inconsistent over the last 2 years. His performance on the field last year was not good enough in my opinion. I feel very, very solid about Elijah Page and John Ray Reed. But do we know for a fact that Tobias Raymond is going to be a really solid right tackle? No, we don't know for a fact. I believe he will be. Same thing with Justin Tuanu. I'm as high on him as anybody. But it's all question marks, guys. We have no idea what to expect from this O-line. Overall, it's extremely concerning. And Nico, you're exactly right. When you pair that offensive line, especially when you have extremely questionable guard play, what that means is you're going to be getting pressure from the middle of that offensive line. The quickest path to the quarterback is in between the guard and the center. And what has Jaden Maava shown us when he's under pressure? He panics, he throws the ball up, he fumbles, he makes big time mistakes. That's a very concerning combination for a multitude of reasons. So what can you do to address that? What can you do to swerve around that? Run the goddamn ball, Lincoln. I'm not talking about going up to the line, giving Jaden an option to pull it and throw it. No, call a run the ball. Run the ball until they prove they can stop us. Just like in the Washington game last year, we didn't run the ball in that first half, extremely frustrating. We come out in that third quarter, we pound them with Woody Marks, we run behind Emmanuel Pregnon and Elijah Page. That needs to be the approach in each and every game we play this year. Jacoby's going to get his, Makai's going to get his, but we need to run to open up the pass, not the other way around. Get those linebackers creeping up towards the line. Get those safeties taking a few steps down. That's when you hit them over the top, but this needs to be a run-based offense. Help out your quarterback, help out your very young and inexperienced offensive line. It's up to Lincoln where this offense goes, and that's 100% where I believe it should go. Next up from Keep Quiet Please over on YouTube, he says Devan Thompkins gets all Big Ten honors and is one of, if not the best defensive lineman on the team. Sorry, Cam. So Devan Thompkins is a guy I am extremely excited about. Loved when he signed to USC. That upside was through the roof, and he is fully capitalizing on it. He's changed his body. He looks like a grown-ass man, a true interior defensive lineman now. So what happens when you take a very athletic high school basketball player and turn him into a stud defensive lineman in the middle of this unit? That's what we're going to see this year. The coaches have been talking him up. Really looks like he's ready to make that next big jump. And he was good last year. I thought he might have been our best defensive lineman during the entirety of that season. So now he has more weight, another year in this scheme, way more functional strength on him. Yeah, very excited about Devan Thompkins. Don't really think this is a hot take. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, Devan Thompkins, Cam Fountain, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys. Next up from Snake P over on Twitter, he says Sultan McCullough is still better than Justin Fargas. This is a hot take, and it's also incorrect. Sorry, Snake, but no. Sultan was a damn good player, but Justin Fargas was another level as a running back. The blocking, the vision, the explosiveness, he really had it all. Even played in the NFL for a stint. Yeah, big Justin Fargas guy. Next up from Stormy over on Twitter, they say somehow, some way, USC finds a way to beat ND in South Bend for the first time since 2011. That's pretty upsetting to read aloud. I was 13 years old the last time USC won in South Bend. Is that going to change this year? I am absolutely not going to believe that until I see it. Because we don't just lose when we go to South Bend, we play like shit, if we're being completely honest. We need to find a way to break that cycle, to come out, get a fast start, do not turn the ball over. We'll see what the situation is with CJ Carr, what kind of player he is. Don't think he's going to be to the level of a guy like Riley Leonard that I was very high on last year. But still, if he's even competent with this offensive line, with these running backs, with that defensive line and linebackers, don't know how they're going to replace all that talent in the secondary. That's going to be very hard with Morrison leaving. But yeah, if we could find a way to win that game, it would be extremely huge both for Lincoln Riley and for USC, the program. Sick of losing there. Sick of losing to them in general. I'll tell you what, though, there's no scenario that we win that game unless Jaden Maava plays out of his mind. And for that to happen, we have to protect him. So let's see where this O-line's at, and then we'll go from there. Next up from Jack over on Twitter, he says Joey Olsen wins the Mackey Award. Of course, on this channel, we all know hashtag Joey Olsen is elite. Jack, you're a ball knower. Gold star for you, my friend. Next up from Anthony over on Twitter, he says Tamir Robinson leads the team in tackles. Now this is a very hot take. Now let's take a look at who the favorites are for this. If Kamari Ramsey's playing down in the box more predominantly, which I believe he will be, with Bishop Fitzgerald being that true free safety, but he's certainly a candidate. The linebackers clearly with Desmond Stevens and Eric Gentry. Now for Tamir Robinson to be leading the team in tackles, one, maybe both of them have to be hurt for the majority of the season, you would think. So I don't really know if Tamir Robinson leading the team in tackles would be a good thing. But yeah, maybe he works his way into that third spot over a guy like Jaden Walker. He finds his way to the field early. Knock on wood, no one gets hurt. But yeah, that's the only way I see Robinson having a big statistical year for us. Next up, from the GOAT of USC Twitter himself, Fight on Rusty, he says USC visits South Bend 6-0. Now, while in general, I'm not overlooking the Michigan State game. Hell, I'm not even overlooking the Purdue game just because weird shit happens there. But for the sake of this, let's assume we win those. This is going to come down to the game at Illinois and home against Michigan. Now, that game against Illinois, I don't see it being a blowout either way. I think that's going to be a really stressful and tough one. Could USC win it? 100%. Could Illinois win it? 100%. So with that game being a coin flip, it's going to come down to the game against Michigan. And I'm actually a lot more confident about that one than I am against Illinois, mainly because it's at home. You're going up against a freshman quarterback. I trust D'Anton Lynn to terrorize that kid. We're going to be coming at him in waves with this defensive line, moving Eric Gentry all around the field, bringing Kamari Ramsey down, backing him up. Really think that kid's not going to know what hit him. So this one both simultaneously feels like a hot take and it doesn't. At this point, I would lean slightly against us not being undefeated by the time we're there. Just think we're going to drop one at some point, but could absolutely see this happening. Next, from NDKS2207 on YouTube, he says SC goes 4-7 this year, fires Lincoln Riley, hires D'Anton Lynn as head coach, and makes the playoffs for the 2026 season. Yeah, Lincoln Riley's not getting fired this year. I mean, maybe if it was like 3-8 with losses to Purdue and Northwestern or something like that, or obviously worse at 2-10 or 1-11. But yeah, he's not going to get fired. As much as I would love for D'Anton Lynn to be our head coach one day, don't think this is going to happen. For sure, hope we make the playoffs in the 2026 season, but if we do, it's going to be with Lincoln Riley as the head man. And lastly, from Craig on Twitter, he says Thanos is starting by the end of the year. All right, so for this to be happening, I'm going to assume he's playing defensive end. Now, for a true freshman in college, a guy that didn't play his junior or senior year in high school, for him to be starting, that means he's a 3-down player. He's in there on passing downs, he's in there on rushing downs. He's doing it all, and that would be a huge deal for a guy like Jakeem being that age. Can it happen? Absolutely. I do think that this is a hotter take than most people would think, only because there's a big difference between being a rotational pass rush specialist and being a 3-down player, because that means that he usurped a guy like Anthony Lucas, a guy like Braylon Shelby. Now, are those guys the best players in the world? No, but they're very solid college players. Obviously, Shelby has that insane upside still at this point in his career. But how Jakeem plays against the run is going to determine whether or not this comes true. And we saw a guy last year in Cam Fountain that was phenomenal against the run. The way he would set the edge, the strength he would have to hold off offensive tackles with one arm while making a play on the ball carrier, that's unprecedented for a freshman. Cam Fountain's just built differently. So we'll see if Jakeem Stewart can get that done this year. Definitely don't see him breaking in that role on the inside. So many big bodies, so many veteran guys. Do you really think he's going to take over for a guy like Devan Thompkins, Jade Abasiri, these guys that have been inside? Of course, injuries can happen, but that's not the point of this conversation. So yeah, very hot take from Craig there. But guys, that is going to do it for Viewer Comments Hot Take Edition. There were so many good submissions this week. If I didn't get to your comment, I do apologize. Keep them coming, keep commenting whenever you see it, and you will be featured in a video, I can assure you that. But yeah, if you guys did happen to enjoy the video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.